everyone, Ham here. Just woke up. Oh, that beeping. The fire alarm. Changed the batteries, but still making noise, if anybody knows about those things. I feel like it has, there's no reset button, like, I don't know. So if you hear the beeping, that's what it is. Just getting some breakfast made. I'm usually the type of parent to cook a full breakfast and lunch, but today we're doing waffle sticks. But at least I made the batter, and I used one of these, it's called baby cakes. It's like a little, this is like for in a pinch. This is a lot of fun, and it makes little waffle sticks. Good stuff. Actually snowed last night too. Not enough to have a snow day, but just enough for it to look cool. Bowling trip today. Mama's chaperoning. I was actually on the bowling team in elementary school because my neighbor was, because her dad was like 300 on the 300 league, like crazy bowler, right? Anyway, and it actually helped my self-esteem, I think. It was fun. This is something that I think I've touched upon in other videos. Everyone, you know, has been discussing this R. Kelly thing, right? I even made a video about it. Go check it out. But, and I know I've made, I'm pretty sure I've made this in another one of my videos, but what's the importance, and I'm just specifically talking about boys right now. Not girls, boys. I could do a video about girls. This one's going to be specifically about boys. And I know that R. Kelly had trauma as a kid and all this kind of stuff, which kind of ties into what I'm saying. And why is it so important? What's the significance? Why is it so important to be so dedicated and to raise our boys well? Future husbands, future fathers, future business owners, future CEOs, future firefighters, future police officers, right? And something I heard in a podcast, I forgot who it was, so if you know who it is, but they said something that really resonated with me really hard. And the simple sentence was, boys either learn to build or to destroy. The way you raise them will determine which path they choose to take, right? So essentially, raise a builder, not a destroyer. Okay, that's just the nature of the beast. We need men in our world. And now I made a video about feminism as well and how important it is for men and women. And I got a lot of thumbs down on that video. I don't know why. I don't let comments be had, so I couldn't really figure out why. Probably just people didn't agree with what I was saying, and that's totally fine. We're all, you know, my goal is to get information out there, another idea out there, whether you agree with it or not, that's okay. But, so, you know, when we have children, right, we think, okay, I'm just gonna get my maternity leave and I'm gonna go back to work. Now, a lot of us, we don't have a choice, right? That's just the way the world works, and unfortunately, that's the way America kind of shoves us, you know, we have no time to have a life, I feel like. So in the small amount of time you do have with your kid, it's important not to brush things off. Like, for instance, I was at a playground with my child, and she was making friends with this little girl. Now, this little girl had an older brother, and he was the definition of a bully. And his father was the definition of a, I don't want to say it, very weak-minded individual. Pushover, you know which word I was going to try to say, but I'm not going to say it. Just like, you looked at him and you were like, you're afraid of your son? Now, maybe his son had some kind of special needs. I don't think so. I think he just was a brat. And when they were ready, so the boy was being really nasty the whole time, like being really a shit to his sister, telling her shit, being really annoying to my daughter and her. And you could tell the little girl just really wanted to have a friend. She's so used to him. She's just like, whatever. Just being nasty. So my daughter goes up to this little girl as they're leaving and picks her some flowers and goes, here, thank you so much for playing with me, right? And the little boy's standing there and he just goes, and hits it out of their hand like those are dead flowers. We don't want flowers. I nearly, like, if that child was my age, I would have went to hand-in-hand combat. Like, that's how angry it made me. My daughter's sitting there trying to do a nice thing for his sister, and he literally was like, literally smacked it out of her hand and was like, ew. Like, where did you come from, right? And the whole time the dad is just like, totally don't do that, come on. If my kid did that, I would have grabbed them by the ear and been like, yo, hypothetically, and been like, you better apologize, and we're going the F home, and you're not playing Fortnite, and you're not, Fortnite, like one of these video games for children, they're not even for kids. I know, a lot of thumbs down in the video, because I said to Fortnite, right? And I was just like, what? He is the future. That child is the future. Like, why is this child the future, right? And even that, it's like, my kid, like, you know, kids have trouble with self-esteem, especially at a young age, especially like only child, you know, like all that kind of stuff. That person is going to one day be out in the workforce. That person's one day might possibly be a husband. For you to sit there and be a wuss, no offense to using that word, and not say anything to your kid is ridiculous. Like, why are you not raising your son? Okay? He's clearly the more difficult of the two. The daughter seems to be really easygoing. So why aren't you putting more energy into raising him? It's not that we pop out kids and we think, oh, we have to focus on our girls because we want to protect them and the boys can just fend for themselves. No. If you're showing them violent shit when they're like 2 years old, they can't comprehend reality from fantasy when they're that little. They think that crap is real. The movies are rated PG-13 for a reason. Why do you think it's funny when your kids are body slamming each other? Like, it's not funny and it's not cool, and it's what our future is going to be, right? This is why we have all these a-holes, you know, in positions of power, right? So not only is it important to raise them right for their own mental health, but for the future. Like, they run a lot of this country, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. Fortunately and unfortunately. So we have to, like, maneuver that very carefully. It's a huge responsibility. You don't just put sperm in an egg and like pop something out and then like go to work and like not deal with your kid. Discipline is so important, and consistency in discipline is so important. And I've said that in other videos, right? Boys are so important to this world. Dads are so important. Husbands are so important. Your little girl can't have her Prince Charming if everyone's raising their boy to be a jackass and be violent. And like even like little boys that my daughter is around, you know, in school and things like that. You know, they're children, but just you can tell like at home how they're being raised. And you're like, it's not their fault, they're children. You're like, why are the parents not taking more time to be more consistent with the way they're taking care of their sons? Right? It's one of the big reasons why I didn't want to have a boy. Not because I hate boys, but because like it's really, really difficult. I know they have a lot of energy, but as a parent, like you have to match that energy in a way. I don't care how tired you are. Okay? Like, it's so important. Like, you want to have a kid, you have to do, you are creating the future. Boys are so important to this world, just like girls are. Build or destroy. Choose. Okay? Choose someone boys have beautiful minds. They have so many great ideas. They have so many benefits to the world, just like girls. So why are we setting them up for disaster? Because you're lazy? Because you're like depressed? Like, I get depressed too. Like, everyone has them, you know, and I understand it's hard, but like, ask for help. Put them in sports, put them in activities, force it. Like, there are things that like I could just easily say like no to my kid because I'm lazy and I don't want to do it. And I've had that growing up where it's just parents don't feel like doing shit, so you don't get to do anything. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help you. And like your kid might grow up and like never leave the house because, you know, you're just making it that comfortable for them. You know, raise leaders. It's important because that's our future. And we all see how like 40%, I don't know, percent of all like animals have like died off in the past 30 years. That's my entire lifetime. Okay? Things are really, really changing in this world. Really bad. Okay? We need people with ideas to work forward and work towards like a future for everybody. Stop thinking on this individual level, like this social media, all this selfie crap. It's built to like keep you self-centered. Start thinking of everybody as a whole. Raise winners, meaning raise people who do right, raise people who want to think of other people than themselves. Right? There's a YouTuber I found actually on Facebook, Daniel Ewan something. He is like this is for him. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but like the way he is so what you want your son to be, right? Like such a good person. Even like decided to stop drinking because, you know, and like young men, he's like a young man. He's like probably in his 21 or something like that. Such a good example. Like look that guy up. I'm sure you've seen his doing funny videos on YouTube or whatever. But if you're not raising your son, if you're just thinking, like I've seen like examples like all day long, like I go into my kid's classroom and I'm just like parent parties and I see the way the parents are addressing things and I'm like, man, not in my house. And I'm saying to myself like, this isn't working. This isn't gonna work for the future, right? And we all know it, right? You don't want a future rapist. You don't want a future drug addict. You don't want a future person in jail. You don't want a future like destroyer of things. Like let's just take the time to focus on how important it is. We love our boys, our sweet little babies, right? Don't just brush them aside and think they can raise themselves. They need more than girls, trust me. Especially when they're younger. They need more focus and direction. And if you push them in the right direction, they will surprise you and become these wonderful human beings, right? And not just, oh, I have a good job and I make good money, but I treat people well. I put good into the atmosphere. I give back, you know, all that's really important, okay? So, I love you guys. Raise your kids right. Raise your kids well, boys and girls, but we're talking about boys here, okay? So anyway, love you guys. Check you on the next video. Don't forget, if you burn the steak, don't worry. You can always order pizza. Bye.